Reader's Digest. We're not going to do a ton of these, but I want you to be able to see it. The only difference is it's asked you to give both the domain and the range for these, so it will take you just a touch bit longer, if you will. There we go. The exact same rules apply to graphing absolute values and square roots, in that this, people, these are square root functions. How big is this going to be? Big? No, that's good. Okay, under square roots. Okay, this number here, you know, that number there is, you think about starting at the origin. Okay, if it's a -3, you think about going down 3 places. And then the number inside of the square root, you think about going the opposite direction. It doesn't go +2, it actually ends up going -2. So your square root is going to start right there, and it is nothing more than the Nike swish. Now, something to be aware of is this. This number out here, that 2, they're all going to look like Nike swishes, or upside down Nike swishes. That number 2, though, whatever number's outside of there, just makes it look, just makes it look blown up and not quite as a normal. Like if this wasn't here, I would draw my Nike swish kind of like this. Since this is here, it's kind of flatter and longer. Okay, because that 2 just doubles the Y coming out this way. But you don't really care about it. I'm not going to do that. You just need to start it at the right place. Okay. So this one over here doesn't have something over there, it doesn't have something there, so it is going to start at the origin. Okay. If by chance this was a negative in front, okay, then it just goes on the bottom and does that same thing. It's the mirror image of it. Okay. Now I did ask, and the book asked you to give the domain and range of these. So let's look at this one here. It's pretty simple. Domain equals, range equals. We should probably do it in both interval notation and inequality notation here. But domain, if I asked you what the domain of this is, domain are what are the x values? Okay, all of these have a starting point, but no ending point. Okay, so the way you kind of do that is what? X has to be what here? Has to be -2 or greater. So the domain here is going to be x is greater than or equal to -2. It goes on forever that way. The range, where did the y values start and where are they going to end? The range starts right here at -3. So y is greater than or equal to -3, and it goes on again forever up to. Even though it looks like this thing's going to plateau and level out, given all numbers there, it's going to keep rising and rising. If you're writing, or when you write this in interval notation, what's the domain look like? So the starting point is -2, and it goes to what? Infinity, never stops. Infinity is a parenthesis, -2 is a bracket. And the same thing for, was it bad? Okay. I was hoping it wasn't breaking.
Not broken.
Just painful? And then the range down here is, did you go to the doctor last night or this morning, Kels? This morning or last night?
This morning.
Is there a bruise on it?
It's on the outside it's not bruised, it's just really swollen.
When did it?
I didn't mean to do it.
Well,
I didn't mean to hit her.
When did it start swelling up? Is it
It started swelling up last night. It wasn't as bad as this morning.
on the morning?
Maybe we show up there on YouTube, man.
Hey, and then the range here, children, is same thing. Where did the y value start? You already have it here. It starts at -3 and it goes to infinity there as well. So I would like you to write down in both forms the domains and the ranges there. Yeah. So we do one, do problem number two. Do problem number 6 for me. Do number 6 right now, and we'll make sure you're on the same page as we are here. Number 6 was what? Y is the, do you have one? Did I give you one?
Yeah.
Is it on my desk right there? Must be on my desk there, Kels. I can only hope. Where did they go? Did you do it already, Lutz? Wait, absolute value, square root, right? How can I lose these papers so quickly? And you should be done, well done by now. The graph of this would just be this. This is where you start at the origin, it goes up 3. There is no number next to the x, so that's just where it is right after y origin. And it's just going to be the little switch that goes out that way. The domain and the range, the domain is x has to be greater than or equal to 0, because that's a 0 right there on the x-axis. And the range has to be, y has to be, starts right there at 3, greater than or equal to 3. You with me? And if you're doing it in interval notation, pretty simple. Domain starts at 0 and goes to infinity. And if you're doing the range, it starts at 3 and goes to infinity. Yay? Yippee? Christine?
So they always go through?
Yes. I believe. They'll always go to the right, but that doesn't mean they won't start somewhere in the negative territory. They will always go to the right. We should try it. Maybe I was wrong on that negative x. What would that be? If we were graphing this, y equals absolute value of a negative, what would that look like? If x is 0, y is 0, so it starts at the origin. If x is 1, y is negative 1. If x is 4, y is negative 2. And if is 9, that's negative 3. If you graph that, what would it look like? 0, 0. 1, negative 1, 4, negative 2, yeah. You get a negative out there, it's going to do that, just like we talked about. But I don't believe there's any negatives on this, is there? Are there? What is this? Nope. So you should be good to go. Alright, so just make sure you list the domain and the range of those things, and please list them in both positive / and or negative. Or listing both and what it